Hi everyone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the DVD Collector's Hunt. I think that's what we're calling this little side series we're doing here on Pop Culture Pedestal. I didn't plan on doing one of these episodes every single week, but this week I've had quite another good haul. I found quite a few gems in the charity shops which I wanted to show you. But don't worry, I'm not going to be doing these kind of episodes every single week. Currently I'm working on an Angry Video Game Nerd the Movie review, and I'm working on a Ghostbusters review as well, so they'll be coming very soon, and of course all the action figure reviews and bootleg reviews. But for today we're going to be having a look at these DVDs I've picked up. Okay, so the first DVD I found this week is Oliver Reed's Platoon, starring Charlie Sheen and William Dafoe, and I think this is up there with Full Metal Jacket, and when I saw this I just had to get it. It's a classic war film that I will be putting with my other war films, which at the moment only comprises of Full Metal Jacket and Saving Private Ryan, so that'll go nicely next to those two. The next movie I found is Peter Jackson's The Frighteners before he shot to fame with Lord of the Rings. I think he was still quite known before Lord of the Rings. He did this movie. I think he did Basket Case as well. This is the director's cut. I've never actually seen this before in the shops. This is the first time I've come across it in a charity shop or in any kind of shop. The director's cut, and it's jam-packed with special features as well. And it comes in this special cardboard sleeve. So yeah, I think I'll be keeping it in that. Sometimes I throw away the cardboard sleeves because I'm not really interested, but this one's quite nice, so I think I'll be keeping it in that one. The next movie I came across is this Region 1 copy of From Dusk Till Dawn, and it's jam-packed with special features. I've never actually seen this copy in the UK before, obviously, because it's Region 1. So I had to pick this up. I actually already own it, but I thought this version of this movie is an absolute must for me because I love this movie, and I'd be interested to see if there's any special features on here which aren't on my copy of the disc. I'm not 100% sure whether it's exactly the same or whether it's slightly different. There is the full-length feature called Full Tilt Boogie. I'm not 100% sure whether that's on the Region 2 copy or not, but I didn't recognise it, so I picked it up just in case. I remember the first time I rented this movie, and it wasn't what I thought it was at all. I just saw Tarantino's name on it and thought it was just another Tarantino movie, but of course when it gets up to the point where vampires appear, it's nothing like any other Tarantino film you've seen, and it was an absolute blast. Because up to that point, it did feel like a Tarantino movie. And then it just went crazy. He also co-directed this with Robert Rodriguez. And yeah, I think this is an absolute must for my collection because I love this movie. Next, I found another Region 1 copy of Independence Day, the 5-star collection. And this is the director's cut as well, but it's also jam-packed with extra features. It also comes with a little booklet inside with lots of information on the making of the film and such, which is a nice little touch. I remember when this came out at the cinemas and I was really excited to go and see it. There's not many movies now that get me excited to actually go to the cinema because these felt like proper summer blockbusters, something that we don't really get anymore. I think the last movie I got so excited over was probably Deadpool and Wolverine. That was amazing, but it's very few and far between that I feel that way about a movie these days. But I remember absolutely being so excited to see this, and you know, it was worth every penny of my money when I went seeing it in the cinema. It was absolutely amazing, and it still is to this day, even though some of the effects might seem a little bit dated. It's a great film. I absolutely love it. It's up there with some of my best sci-fi movies. This movie I picked up is another Region 1 disc, Big Trouble in Little China, and it's got a second disc full of special features. I've already got this on Region 2. It's only got one disc, not many special features, if any, so I had to pick this up because this is one of my all-time favourite movies. And it's just jam-packed with special features, and you know, this is just a cult classic from the 80s. I watch it more than once a year. It's absolutely fantastic, and I just love the front cover as well. It's so iconic. I really hope that NECA bring out a Jack Burton action figure because that is one which I will purchase straight away. It's an absolutely awesome film. It's all in the reflexes. I made that bit up just for the...
It's all in the reflexes.
Now, if you watched the last episode, which not many people did, you'll know that I'm looking to collect more Kevin Smith movies. So when I came across this, I was over the moon. I found Dogma on DVD. This is a DVD you see every now and again, but you don't really see it that much. Well, not in my experience anyway. So I found this one, and this is Region 1. This is like a big box set. It's got jam-packed with special features once again. I've seen it quite a while back. I can't really remember much of the movie. I remember that Alanis Morissette plays, she plays God at the end of the movie, and I know Alan Rickman's in it as a disgraced angel or something like that, but I remember absolutely loving it, and I can't wait to watch it again. I just want to collect all the other Kevin Smith movies so I can watch them in some kind of order, you know. And next is another Region 1 pickup, Clerks, the animated TV series, and I was really surprised to see this actually, because I'm pretty sure, and I may be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure that this is not available in the UK. Of course, this is a Region 1 disc once again. So to find this, I was over the moon and I just snapped it up. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's going for quite a bit of money online because you can't get it over here. And I presume it's kind of gone out of print over in the US maybe, because it's going for quite a bit of money. But obviously, I don't collect for that reason. I don't collect to resell. I collect to keep. So if I had no interest in this, I probably wouldn't have picked it up, whether I knew it was worth something or not. But as I'm collecting the Kevin Smith movies, I had to get this. I'm not sure whether it's going to be any good or not. I think I've seen a few clips on YouTube years ago. But yeah, if I'm going to collect the other Kevin Smith movies, then I've got to have this as well. Next, we have another Kevin Smith movie, Clerks 2, which I have never seen. I've seen Clerks 1 plenty of times, but I have never seen Clerks 2. I believe there's a Clerks 3 out as well now, so I'll have to keep an eye out for that. And there are a few other Kevin Smith movies that I need to collect. But we're getting there step by step. Next movie absolutely terrified me as a kid, The Return to Oz, and it shouldn't have terrified me because it's a kid's movie, but there were some really strange creatures in this movie, some strange characters. I remember there were some guys who, I think they were called the Wheelies or the Wheelers or something like that, and they moved around with wheels on their arms and legs, and their arms were elongated, and it was very creepy to watch on screen. When I saw this, I had to pick it up. I've not seen this film in the longest time. I couldn't really tell you the plot apart from Dorothy returns back to Oz and they have another adventure, but it's a lot darker than the original one, and that movie was quite dark for its time, but this one is a lot darker, but it's so cool. It's such a good film. Next movie I picked up is the comedy Zombieland. Now, I'll admit, I'm not really a fan of Jesse Eisenberg. Normally when I see him in a movie, I just kind of pass it by. I'm not really interested. He's just one of them actors that don't really gel for me. I think he was a terrible Lex Luthor. But I like him in this film. I think he's quite good. Woody Harrelson is amazing in this as well. And of course, we get that scene with Bill Murray where they're watching Ghostbusters at the mansion. And it is quite a funny film and it's really, really well made. So I was glad to see this. And now I've got to look out for Zombieland 2. Next movie I came along, or movies, is the Beverly Hills Cop box set featuring 1, 2 and 3. And I must admit, I'm not really interested in keeping the box. I'm just interested in keeping the singular discs, and I'll put them on my shelf next to each other. I'm not a big fan of keeping the boxes, to be honest, unless it's an extra special box. I do like the Indiana Jones box set. I like how the cardboard is embossed on the outside. So if it's something that I take a fancy to, then I will keep it. But that one, it's not in the best of condition to start with. So, you know, I'll just take it out of the box and just keep the singular discs. The Beverly Hills Cop movies I used to watch over and over and over again as a kid. Even the third one, even though it's awful, I still have a soft spot for it because it's just reminds me of that nostalgia of watching it when I was a kid, and I do kind of like it, even though it's the worst of the series, and they even poke fun of this in the fourth one as well. I do still kind of like it, so yeah, I'm glad to have that in the collection. And of course, Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2, and a lot of people said Beverly Hills Cop 2 wasn't as good as the first one, but I didn't mind it. I like number 2. Yeah, some good pickups there, I think. Now, the next pickup I'm really pleased with. This is a Blu-ray, not a DVD, and it's the Steelbook of E.T. And this film was amazing back in the day. It still is now, but back in the day, I remember it being a real treat when it actually came on TV. And it seemed like in my childhood days that this always came on the television at Christmas and no other time of the year. So Christmas, I remember always checking the TV guide to see whether E.T. was on, and now I own it. I already own it on DVD, to be honest, but when I saw this, I couldn't pass it by. I think this cost £1.50, so I was absolutely over the moon to pick this up. And yeah, I love this film to this day. I can still watch it and be totally entertained. It's just amazing. One of Steven Spielberg's best movies, apart from Jaws. The next DVD, I read the book not long ago and I absolutely loved it. It didn't feel like a long read. I don't think it was actually. I think it was a littler book than the normal Stephen King novels. The Green Mile. This is an absolutely brilliant film. I love movies that are set in the past and they kind of transport you back there when you're watching them, and you believe in this world that you're watching, and they succeed with this, and it's got that magical element to it as well. It's a very entertaining film, it's a very sad film, and of course it's got Tom Hanks in it, so you know that you're in for a good time. This film is amazing. I recommend this to anybody. And of course this film also stars Michael Clarke Duncan, who I was very sad to hear that he passed away a few years back. Well, probably more than a few years now. But yeah, I remember that being sad news because he was a really good actor, and he did a couple of films that I saw him in. But this was probably the best role I did see him in, and yeah, it's sad to hear when the actors you're fond of passes away, or when anyone passes away for that matter. But yeah, it was sad news when I heard that he had passed away. The next movie is a bit of a romantic comedy. It's as good as it gets. It stars Jack Nicholson, and it's just one of my all-time favourite movies. I just absolutely love how this movie is shot, the look of the movie, the humour of the movie. It's quite a dark humour. Jack Nicholson plays an awesome role. There's quite a few Jack Nicholson movies I'm a fan of, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo Nest, and of course his portrayal as a Joker in Batman. Witches of Eastwick is another Jack Nicholson film. I'd name more, but I can't really think of any right now because I feel like I've been put on the spot by myself. But yeah, I'm a massive fan of Jack Nicholson, and he's highly entertaining in most films that he's in. And this one, it's got to be up there. It's got to be one of my favourites. Next we have a guilty pleasure of mine, which is Arnold Schwarzenegger in Eraser. This film is actually quite good. It came at a time in his career when it was kind of taking a slump, but I'm a fan of Arnie and I will always love his movies, and I'm looking to collect most of them. When I say most of them, I don't want Hercules in New York. I just want the ones that I loved as a kid. I'd probably even buy Raw Deal, but Hercules in New York has got to take a back seat for me. His more popular films, obviously I've already got the Terminators, I've got the Conan the Barbarians. I'm looking to pick up Twins, I'm looking to pick up Kindergarten Cop, movies like that. But this one was a guilty pleasure. It's a little bit silly, but that's what Arnie films are all about, aren't they? And this one it's action-packed and it's quite enjoyable. Of course, you have the famous alligator scene when CGI wasn't quite as good as it is now. Next we have Kingdom of Heaven, a movie that I really enjoyed, but cannot remember much about because I haven't seen it since it first came out, so I thought I'd pick this up and give it another watch. I love this kind of genre of movie. I think it's like before with Green Mile, it's good when these movies can transport you back in time and make you totally believe that that's where the movie is being set. And yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this because, like I said, I can't really remember the plot of the movie. I can't remember much of the movie. I just know that I liked it. It's like that with a lot of movies that I pick up that I've seen a long time ago. I can't actually remember what the movie was about, but I remember that I enjoyed it. So next we have this 4-disc DVD box set of the Chevy Chase Vacation Collection, and I'm glad I found this because I've only actually seen 2 of these movies. I've seen the first one, the National Lampoon's Vacation, and I've seen the Christmas one as well. I watch that every year. But the other 2, I think I've only seen in parts. I've seen little bits here and there when they were on television when I was younger as a kid. I have not seen them much in my adult life. So it'll be good to actually watch the other films and fill in the gaps in between the first one and the Christmas one. I think the Christmas one... No, there was a Vegas one that came after the Christmas one, which apparently wasn't very good, but I'll be my own judge. But yeah, the Christmas one I watched every single year. It's the one I'm most familiar with. So like I said, it'll be good to watch the other ones. Next we have The Last Samurai starring Tom Cruise. I absolutely love this movie. I think no matter what, if you pick up a Tom Cruise movie, you're going to be in for a good time. Not everyone will agree with me on that, but I think the majority of Tom Cruise movies are actually very, very good, and this one is no exception. I absolutely love The Last Samurai, so this was a good pickup for me. And it'll go very nicely next to my other Tom Cruise movies, which I picked up in the last episode. I picked up Top Gun and Rain Man. This will sit nicely next to them. Next we have this Michael Mann movie, Heat, starring 2 greats, Pacino and De Niro, in a great movie. This movie absolutely blew me away when I first saw it, and I've been a fan ever since. And of course, seeing these 2 sat on a table across from each other, just given this awesome scene, is absolutely amazing. And of course, I almost forgot Val Kilmer's in it as well. How could I forget that? Val Kilmer at this time was appearing in some great movies. I remember he appeared in Tombstone, one of my favourite westerns of all time, and he just stole the show. And he kind of does the same in this, but it's a scene between these 2 at that coffee table which is a scene that I always look forward to coming up the most. But yeah, another great movie. Now, last but not least, I picked up these 3 Halloween films. I am looking to actually collect the whole collection of the Halloween films. So I've kind of started it with these three, and they're all from totally different universes, I suppose you could say, or timelines. So we have Halloween, the original, the best one in my opinion, with Jamie Lee Curtis. And it's the movie that first introduced us to Michael Myers. We did get a sequel to this movie that has now been retconned. And then the third movie stepped away from Michael Myers for some reason. And there was a bit of a outrage about that. And then they went back to Michael Myers for the fourth film and they've never looked back. And of course, it's directed by the great John Carpenter. And you'll be surprised with this movie. It's actually rated 18, but you very rarely see any of the kills. There's very little blood in it. And it was shot in such a way that builds suspense, but doesn't really show you much. It's a little bit like Jaws in that respect, because they had a low budget and they made it work with what they had, and it's a really effective horror film. I think when a horror film can scare you and not show you much, they've really done a good job. That being said, there are still some pretty horrific kills in this. They're just not in your face like most horror movies these days. Next, I picked up this Halloween Uncut, which has absolutely nothing to do with that Halloween. This is when Rob Zombie attempted to reboot the franchise, and in my opinion, I think he did quite a good job. I enjoy these movies. These are a lot more graphic than the first one. I was just saying with the first movie that they held back on the gore. This one does not. This one just gives you gore, full blast. And they actually look a little bit more into Michael's past as well when he was a child, which I thought was a really interesting theme of the movie. They also made a sequel to this, which I need to pick up at some time, which was just as gruesome. But that's as far as that series went. Next, I picked up the more recent Halloween movie from 2019, starring Jamie Lee Curtis again, because this is a straight up sequel to the first movie. And they kind of retconned the second movie where Jamie Lee Curtis was running around in a hospital trying to get away from Michael Myers, which I thought was a good movie, and I was surprised that they canned that one and just went straight into this. But it works, and I actually enjoyed this film. The sequel that they did after this, I thought was not as good. It was downright terrible, actually. And then the third one they did was even worse. But this one wasn't that bad, and it was a welcome return to the franchise. Just a shame that they retconned the second one, but this one was quite good. The other two, not quite as good, but I will pick them up if I see them, because I'm a completionist. And that's it for this week. Like I said, I'm not going to be doing these kind of videos every single week. It just so happened that I bought quite a lot this week, so I thought I'd do a video before I got even more, and it just spiraled out of control. I will be back pretty soon with a review of Ghostbusters and the Angry Video Game Nerd, the movie. Not sure which one I'm going to post first, but those are the ones that are coming next. Until then, see you very soon.